What is up, you guys? Beth Isbell here, founder of Dream Dynasty. I wanted to create this video to talk a little bit about retention as far as our customers and our coaches are concerned. I think that it's really easy in this coaching business to get so super excited about the Success Club points and the new challengers or the new coach sign up that we oftentimes lose sight of the importance and the value for so many reasons in helping our customers stay the course and hopefully in turn become one of our coaches one day. And at the same time, help our coaches, once they sign up, see success in their business and help them celebrate those small wins early on so that they want to stay in this business long term, just like you and I do. So I want to first talk really quickly. This video will be pretty short because I don't overcomplicate the process of what retention in my business looks like, but I do a few kind of key things that I think have helped me retain my customers and retain my coaches to a point to where they start to see really incredible momentum and success in their business. So as far as my customers are concerned, I have some notes over here, so I'm going to be glancing down every couple seconds. But retaining your customers, you guys, our number one responsibility as coaches is to help our challengers get results. That is inclusive of retaining them, right? Through their first program into a second, helping them consistently complete our programs from start to finish, stay engaged and plugged into our challenge groups. And that is where I am such a firm believer, because this is how I found my coaching business and why I will never leave, in the fact that when you fall in love with these programs and the process and the community and the accountability, you won't be going anywhere, right? Like that is how I am retained in this business, is because of that first vital behavior of being a product of the product. Okay, so that all starts with your challenge groups. I know we're going through some transitional phases and things right now with figuring out bod groups and getting all of those kinks kind of ironed out, but you still can breathe life into your challenge groups. Figure out what that looks like for you. Don't be scared of what it means to run your own challenge group, or maybe, step out on your own away from your upline coach and step into your power of what running a group looks and feels like for you. The cool thing about challenge groups is that they're yours. You get to decide what they look like. There's no right or wrong way to do it, as long as you are leading with your heart and pouring into your group and letting your customers and challengers know that you're there for them. Okay. Something else that I do is I send out a weekly check-in email. So early on in my business, when I just had a handful of customers, I would check in with my customers one-on-one, which now sometimes I still do. I will go, when we had my challenge tracker app and we could track everybody's logs, which we will be able to do in the bod group system soon if you don't already have access to that. I would go through, and if I noticed that somebody was super inconsistent in the way that they were showing up, I still reach out to them one-on-one. But something that I've noticed that's had a really great impact in my business as far as helping re-engage those challengers that maybe have fallen off a little bit is a weekly check-in email. I used to only send out my weekly check-in email to the participants in my challenge group, but now I pull my entire customer list from my back office, from all of my business centers, and I send out that weekly check-in email speaking directly to each and every one of my customers, even if they're not currently plugged into my group. I kind of give them a little update on my life. It kind of acts and serves as like a little weekly newsletter. If we have any, products launching like MixBready Energize, or, just anything to help them kind of get a feel for what's going on in the Beachbody world in general. But then I specifically talk about our accountability group. I ask them a very specific list of questions that help them start to think and reflect on where they're at in their journey or where they want to be. Things like, what program are you doing? What day of your program are you on? Do you feel like your workouts are challenging you enough? Are you drinking Shakeology? Are you using the performance stack? Are you doing personal development? How is your morning routine system and process going? Things that I know have helped me navigate my journey as a challenger and ultimately as a coach are the questions that I ask them. And that way, if they're plugged in and engaged with the group, I also attach like a weekly meal plan. And now that we have a link that we can copy and paste to share our bod group, I also attach that too, just in case they're not already plugged into the group. They can click on that link and request to join, so I can go ahead and get them plugged in immediately. And then when they request to join, I reach out to them one-on-one to make sure that I'm helping them, get started on the perfect program. But all of those things, I feel like for my current challengers, it helps them start to think about the ways in which they can kind of tweak things that they're doing or things that they're implementing to help them continue to be successful finishing their programs and on this health and fitness journey as a whole. But it also, I have found, kind of re-engage and re-sparks that interest in maybe some customers or challengers who have fallen off for a while. They're getting this weekly check-in email every week, and I know for a fact that after a time or two, it kind of sparks something in them like, okay, it's time for me to get back to it. I have found found that that not only helps get my challengers re-engaged, but it helps me retain my customers program to program much more effectively. So that's something that I do as far as my customers are concerned outside of individual check-ins. And you guys, in my challenge group, outside of making sure that it is alive and vibrant and there's a lot of engagement, you can do challenges in there. You know, whatever, just get creative. There are so many challenge group guides and templates that you can use, Pinterest, ideas that you can pull from. But I also am sure that I stay in phase one as a coach too in my challenge groups. I feel like that really helps with the retention of customers as well, in terms of logging my workouts, logging my shake every day, sharing recipes, sharing any tips or tricks or things that I'm implementing on a consistent basis that I know can help them. I try to do like 2 videos in my group a week that caters to exactly what I'm seeing my challengers struggle with. And then also, I think it's really easy when you've been running challenge groups for a hot second to get into kind of an autopilot mode of just logging your workout, logging your shake, doing a scheduled post, getting in and getting out. Be sure you are interacting with your challengers' post. Comment on their posts, like their posts, give them tips and tricks on their posts specifically so that they know that you see them. That is the power that we hold as Beachbody coaches. And at the end of the day, like, that is our extra leg up and why Beachbody and the community and the programs are so powerful and so effective, because they get us as their coach. And at the end of the day, that's what's going to retain your customers and hopefully encourage your customers to want to do this business with you as well. As far as retaining my coaches are concerned, I know we get super excited when we sign up a coach, even if they're not really sure how much or little they want to work the business, whether it's helped us, reach the rank of Emerald or Diamond or whatever the case may be. We get really excited, but then we kind of lose sight of the fact that, like, okay, now I need to help them feel the way that I do about this business, right? And first and foremost, they are their top priority. So reminding them that continuing on their health and fitness journey and knowing that they are their top priority is always of the utmost importance to me. But one thing that I have found to be super helpful with my coaches as far as retaining them long enough to help them see some momentum in their business is I put all of my new coaches every single month into a Facebook message thread. I call it like a message pod. And I really use that pod to form connection with all of the new coaches on our team. At this point in my business, my team is small enough where I can allow like my coaches and their coaches and some of their coaches, like my entire downline into a message pod. If it's getting too big, I'll open up another message pod for the month. I know at some point I'm going to have to scale that down a little bit. And as I continue to create leaders of leaders on my team, I will encourage them and teach them how to run their own message pods. But it really does give those new coaches on your team a sense of security and comfort and ultimately confidence and belief that they're not the only ones struggling with all of the things that a new coach struggles with, right? Fear of judgment, posting on social media, making their announcement post, sending a couple invites, all of those things are super uncomfortable. And I feel like the second a new coach kind of gets overwhelmed with that process is the second that they, take a step back and they lose sight of why they started in the first place. I am also severely intentional with how I do one-on-one calls and even like group calls with specific pods of coaches that I have. I spend a lot of time on one-on-one calls because I know that the thing that I didn't know I needed the most out of this business was connection and the community that has been built within our team culture. And I want my new coaches to feel that. I want my new coaches to not ever want to leave this business because the relationships and the connections that they have with me and our team are too strong that they could never leave. And I think a lot of that does come with one-on-one calls, or I have like my new coach message thread. And then I also have like I call it a phase 1, a phase 2, and a phase 3 that they kind of like graduate to based on benchmarks that they're hitting. And I will hop on like a group call with my new coaches or my phase 1 or my phase 2 or my phase 3, like my leadership pod. I'll hop on a Zoom call with them, once a week, once every other week, just so that we can talk through some of the struggles and challenges that we're all trying to navigate. And that also in turn builds a sense of community. I am such a firm believer in that community and team culture has been an absolute game changer for our team, specifically towards the end of last year and early this year. And that comes with the calls, the one-on-one calls or the group calls, the message pods. And then also something that I know I will have to find a new system for at some point, but because our team is still small enough, I am like all about helping my coaches, which is why in those new coach message threads, I allow, like my coaches and their coaches in there, because I think that me helping my coaches coach helps my coach. You know what I mean? And that momentum that they see their coach creating in their business helps them create momentum. And you guys, momentum in this business is everything. And so I'm just constantly searching for ways to help my coaches find momentum in their business. And I find that outside of the pods, the message threads, and the Zoom calls, that also comes from me helping my coaches succeed as well, which in turn impacts their success. So those are just some tips and tricks I have for you guys on retention of customers and coaches. And at the end of the day, it's really all one thing to me. Like, retention, regardless of whether we're talking about a customer or a coach, is all about you leaning in and helping them succeed on their health and fitness journey and in their business.